This is Doteasy Graham coming to you with another video. We're going to be showing you guys how to set up a child theme within your WordPress itself. We did a video before just explaining about a child theme, how this works, and the benefits of setting one up. So we're going to be showing you today how to actually go through your WordPress and set this up. You can do this manually, or there are many plugins available. In this case, we're going to be actually showing you how to do this. One plugin that we found simplifies it quite easily, and we would recommend to set this up if you're not overly familiar with working with WordPress. Would be a much better way to do it. As you can see here, we're already logged into the dashboard itself. Your dashboard may look different depending on what you've actually set up. In this case, this is just a fresh install of WordPress, just so we can show you what it looks like and just try and keep it as neutral for everyone possible. From within your WordPress, whenever you want to go and install any kind of plugin, you want to go to plugins from the left menu, and then you want to go to add new from the little sub menu. Here it'll give you a whole bunch of default ones that are already there, just ones they recommend. In this case here, we're going to be actually typing this in here into the list to find it. The best thing to do is to just type in something like child theme, or you can even just type in the word child and it'll go through and start finding things for you. It's kind of hit and miss or whether the search actually comes up for what you want it to, even if you know exactly what it is. In this case here, we're going to be using the first one called Child Theme Configurator. You can see here it's got a lot of different active installations, and it's got a lot of different stars here. So a lot of people like this. This is the one we found that we've used a couple times when setting this up, and we don't want to do it manually, or we just need to quickly set one up, because it does simplify quite a lot. We're going to be selecting install now from the list here, and this will go through and actually install it for us. And we'll just wait for that to go through and finish here. And as you can see, it says it's now installed. Afterwards, you want to make sure to activate it, otherwise it will not do anything. Now that we've got this activated, it's now within our list of plugins, and it shows it's active because you can see it has only the deactivate option. Now, some of you right away will be like, well, there's no edit option, or there's no other options for this. The child theme configurator actually adds itself into your dashboard menu, so we're going to be showing you how to actually start using it next. Once you've installed this, you can go actually under the tools menu, and you'll notice now there's the option for child theme, so we're going to be going to that. Within here, you'll now see you're in the child theme configurator, show your specific version number, and a whole bunch of things to get started. If this is your first time using it, you'll see there's the option to create a new theme, and it'll give you the existing themes you already have here, and you can select from them. In this case, we only have the one actual theme set up, just because it's a demo installation again. You may have more than one already set up, and you'd want to select whichever theme you want to make a child version of. This means whichever theme you like the way it looks, but you want to start tweaking it. So you want to choose whichever theme you're probably either already using or one you plan to use from the list. Once you've got that selected, you want to select Analyze here. And this is just to check to make sure that you can actually build a child theme for it and it doesn't foresee any problems with it. You'll get a little check mark here to let you know if there's any issues with it. You may get other notifications about here if there's any other things that find suspicious, or maybe something to keep in mind, like whether you should use a separate style sheet, or whether you should go through and set it up with a special type of import option, or not to use import, or to use, say, the WordPress style queue. So if you do see other things pop up in here, just quickly review them, because it will actually recommend you do actions for you. It will also give you just information here, general information below. If you're more on the developer side, you can actually take a look to see what it's actually going to be bringing through for you. Otherwise, you can actually just ignore this for the most part and leave it the way it is. Since we're going to be doing more of the simplified one, we're not going to worry about what's in there. We're just going to go on to the next field, which asks you to name the child theme, and you can name it whatever you want. Most naming conventions suggest to take whatever the parent theme is called, in this case the default 2017 theme of WordPress, and then do a hyphen and the word child after it. You can of course name it whatever you want to be, but we do recommend to do it this way as well, just because it's easier to keep things in mind. You have the option underneath then of creating a primary style sheet, which means it's part of it, or you can create a separate style sheet altogether. Generally speaking, we recommend to use a separate style sheet. It's just a little easier to keep everything in order later on. It doesn't really matter so much if you're not familiar with the coding side of things. You can use either or easily enough. We're just going to use the separate one, so we always have the main one to fall back on if we ever need to. Below it'll give you different options for how to select the parent theme style sheet handling, so how it's going to work the two together. In this case, we recommend use the first option of the WordPress style queue. That means WordPress will actually try and handle it all for you, so it'll import it in whatever order it feels best to do so to make it look the way you want. There is the option below where you can use the add import. If you're using an older version of WordPress, you'll probably have to use this version. It's actually not recommended to use it this way anymore, so it's a good idea not to actually use this option if you can. The other options we can actually not worry about. We're going to skip these in this case. You may want to set these up or not, or you may do so. We're just going to leave these as they are. Underneath this, you can see all the actual attributes. If you say we're trying to set up your own actual child theme and say distribute this later on, this is where you go through and actually edit information for it. So you can put in whatever name you want to call it, if you have a specific website to show for it, any kind of author information, anything like that. We're going to skip past this part for this point, just because we're trying to show you how it works itself. Next thing you want to do is want to check mark this box here. This will copy any existing menu, widget, and other customized settings that you have set up already in the parent theme. If you're using a default WordPress theme like the one we're using, there's really not going to be a lot of information to bring across. If you're using a theme you've already been using for quite a while, or a customized theme already set up, you're probably going to get a lot of information across from this, and it's a good idea to do so. Once you've got that done, you want to click on where it says create new child theme at the bottom, and then this will go through and actually start to install it for you. It goes through very quickly and very easily, and it should take you back to the same screen as before, except this time now you'll see there's a bunch of different options. You can create a new one if you want to have more than one child theme. You can configure the existing one. You can duplicate it so that you can take what you've already set up for the child and then work on it further if you wanted. So if you want to say set up slight tweaking, say a seasonal store for instance or something like that, you can take them and do them that way. If you ever want to get rid of your changes, you can always do a reset for it, which will reset everything back to the parent theme, so it's just the default child theme afterwards. Once we've got that set up, you'll notice there's different tabs here, and this is where you can start working on things itself. Now, these two here, the query selector and the properties value, these are helpful, but you may need to know a little bit of coding for it. If you're not really sure what you're doing for this, you can actually do a more generalized search for it. If you just type in the word base, this will use the base to install whatever it feels is the information here for it. So we're just going to go through and select that from the list. And then if you see selector here, if you're not sure what selector to use for it, you can either type in just the pound symbol and that'll go through there, or the hashtag if you prefer. And then the other one you can also use is the period. And you should find almost everything within your actual list from there. Once you've gotten these are everything you can actually modify that's brought over from your theme, and you can put in whatever kind of content you want in there. If you actually clicked on one, it'll go through and give you more information. In this case, we're just going to select one at random here, and you'll see it'll give you the check mark to let you know it found it and loaded it. And then you can start modifying different values here. You can put in whatever thing you want. So you can say modify your font size as it shows here, and you've got the different values of what it is, the baseline, so what it's set to right now, and you can start modifying these around. If you prefer, you can actually enter in raw CSS code and it will go through and try and merge it in as well. The property value is very similar. In this case, you can do different actual properties from your CSS. So the example they use is the word color, and we'll just use that to show you guys as well. And you'll see if you type in the word color, you'll have the option to modify the background color, the border cover, the border color, or the color itself. So it gives you different options depending on what's already set up there. And if you select one from the list, it'll give you different options. So if we select one from here, say, it'll go through and give you additional options. It always gives you a little bit of a demo as well, which is nice to see what it looks like. So you can go through and modify this quite extensively and very easily, depending on how you want to have this set up. Within the web fonts itself, this is where if you say you wanted to import a Google font, or say some CSS file from Google, or say you've already got another site set up with some CSS file you like, you can import them all through here. It does give you information on how to set that up on the left hand side there. It uses normal standard rules for importing anything within WordPress. If you're not familiar with it, we'd recommend not to touch that one. Same as these two here, the baseline styles and the child styles. These are more of the actual coding raw one, where it gives you the actual CSS file. The baseline styles are all the ones that pulled across from the parent that's already there. These you can choose to leave or modify as you want. The important one here is the child styles. These are the ones that you're going to be creating and adding in there. As you start making changes, it'll start to allow you to add content in here as well. And you can put in whatever you want. Anything you do put in the child theme will actually stay itself if you do update the parent theme. It's a good way to customize and fully change it without needing to make specific or lose specific changes whenever you do the updates themselves. The last one here is the files. Now this one you may or may not use depending on how you do it. You can override your parent template for certain things like say a 404 page if you wanted and put in your own custom 404 page. You do have to be careful with this because not all themes will actually allow you to do this, same as not all plugins. Some plugins that have things set up like say the comments page disabled or have a special 404 from a security plugin may not give you access to these. So these may be a little more hit and miss depending on how you've set it up. Below you do have the option of actually uploading pictures if you want to have a custom screenshot for the child theme, if you're say trying to set your own theme up and say give it to other people online, or just make it easier to see so you can go through and actually set that up and it will create it for you. If you do like the plugin itself, they do give you the option to upgrade to get some more simplified features in there as well. So if you do like it, you can always go through that as well. But that's how you can go through and set up a child theme easily through your site and start to work on it. Again, any settings you change within child theme will go through and allow you to keep them if it ever updates them. Makes it very simple to go through and make changes. And it is nice here that you can actually go through and do a live preview of it to see what it looks like. So say for instance, if you ever want to see what it looks like before actually activating it, you can come back here to the parent child section. You can make sure you select your child theme from the list and you can click on where it says live preview. It'll actually show you what it's going to look like so that you can see firsthand before actually activating it. So it's very nice here, and you can even see it says activate and publish. In this case here, it's just the default blog because we've just got the default one set up. There's nothing special here. But if you do make any changes, you can always keep going to the live version to see what they look like every time. And that way you can easily see here what it's going to show us before we actually make it live. If you do have any questions about this, you can definitely, there's a wealth of information online. If there's something you're not sure of, you can always contact our support as well, as we can go through and answer questions here you have. If you want, you can always check with the actual plugin provider if you run into problems with the plugin or something you're not sure of as well. But this is just one way you can easily create a child theme if you do want to go through and set one up. If you have any questions or if you'd like to see us create any other videos, you can definitely leave us a message. We'll be more than happy to help you with that and try and set that up for you. Thank you.